and welcome. Tonight, Niger State Governor Umaru Bago receives 100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School rescued by security agencies. President Bola Tinubu welcomes the return of 100 students and has directed security agencies to ensure the safe rescue and return of the remaining students. Adamawa state government imposes a 24-hour curfew on Lamode local government area after renewed attacks on Bachama community. And Ukraine's European allies press for more security guarantees as pressure mounts from Washington to Kiev to reach a peace deal with Russia.
And on business, Central Bank clears 82 bureaux de change to operate, signals crackdown on unlicensed operators.
On sports news tonight, as anticipation rises for the African Cup of Nations kickoff, CAF and the local organizing committee have unveiled the tournament official mascot, Assad.
And from the nation's capital, federal government launches 50 million naira student venture joint capital initiative to promote innovation and entrepreneurship across tertiary institutions.
We begin with security tonight on the news at 10, and we head to Niger State, where the Governor Umaru Bago has received 100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri, in Agwara local government area of the state, who were recently rescued from captivity. Receiving the students from the representative of the Office of the National Security Advisor, Wing Commander Abdullahi Dari, Governor Bago expressed profound gratitude to President Bola Tinubu, as well as the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, for their swift response that led to the rescue of the students.
I want to thank Mr. President for giving us all the necessary input to rescue these children. I want to thank the NSA and every other person that has been responsible in the recovery of these children. I want to thank development partners here, the UNICEF and others also. Well, thank you all. And for those that have been praying, continue to pray. We wish to recover the remaining students that are still in captivity, and by the grace of God, in a very short time from now, we are going to recover them, inshallah. I want to reassure parents and guardians of these children that they will be safely delivered to them very, very soon. We have called on medical health workers to come and look at them. They will be checked properly and before taking them back to the parents. We are working closely with CAN to make sure that they are safely returned back home.
And on his part, the representative of the National Security Advisor, Wing Commander Dari, explained how the students were rescued.
Over the past 2 weeks, an intense and coordinated operation conducted by the Office of National Security Advisor, Department of State Security Services, the Armed Forces, as well as other security agencies, have yielded this welcome result, in which hundreds of those taken by those criminals have been safely rescued. It is pertinent to mention that the effort of the Department of State Services play a critical role in ensuring the success of this operation. I wish on this note that I affirm the commitment of the Office of the National Security Advisor of every Nigerian. We will continue to lead and coordinate measures to protect all communities and institutions across the country.
In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has commended the security agencies for their tireless efforts in securing the freedom of the 100 students of Papiri Catholic School in Niger State. While expressing his joy over the safe return of the students, President Tinubu equally charged the security agencies to ensure the swift release of the remaining 115 students and their teachers who are still in captivity. According to the statements by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, President Tinubu has assured the parents that both the federal and Niger state governments are working closely to reunite all the abducted students with their families. He also directed the security agencies working with the governors to prevent future kidnappings and ensure Nigerian children are no longer sitting ducks for heartless terrorists who disrupt their education and subject them and their parents to unspeakable trauma. United States Congressman Riley Moore has expressed strong optimism that terrorism in Nigeria can be crushed if the resolutions reached during recent high-level security discussions between the United States and Nigeria are fully implemented. The congressman made this known after a closed-door meeting between the visiting U.S. congressional delegation and Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, where both sides discussed measures to strengthen security cooperation and dismantle terrorist networks, especially in Nigeria's northeast region. According to Mr. Moore, concrete steps and actions were agreed upon during the talks, which he says could significantly enhance national security, disrupt and destroy terrorist organizations operating in the region, and bring an end to the killing of Christians, especially in the Middle Belt. He also says issues of rigorously motivated killings had attracted the attention of the President of the United States and remained a personal concern. The American lawmaker also commended the Nigerian government and President Bola Tinubu for rescuing the 100 students of the Catholic secondary school in Papuri who were abducted, describing that operation as a positive signal of government's growth and the responsiveness to the country's security challenges. It disclosed that both countries are moving closer to cooperative security framework, citing the newly established joint task force between Nigeria and the U.S. as a practical indicator of deepening collaboration. And away from security, the chairman of Taraba State Chapter of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Ibrahim Tukur, has confirmed that Governor Abu Kefas will be joining the party officially in January 2026. He made this announcement at the news conference in Jalingo, the state capital. The governor had postponed his defection scheduled for November the 19th following the abduction of the school children in Kebbi State. Mr. Tukur also explains the suspension of some ward executives for violating the party's constitution, asking all aggrieved members to exhaust all internal dispute resolution mechanism before approaching any court.
The governor, he has written his letter to his ward, and the ward chairman has accepted him as member of APC. That's the most important thing. All other things are just ceremonies, and we are going to celebrate that in January. Let it be clear that we are not exonerating Honorable Abel Peter Dia, member representing Bamga, from any allegations leveled against him. But we are saying procedures should be followed, and he should be given fair hearing. Once that is done, we will have no problem. We are equally not saying a ward or local government executive have no right to discipline anybody, but let proper procedure be followed. We have a constitution, for goodness sake. Therefore, we are warning them. And if they dare, it's not a threat, if they dare take this matter to the court, they will stand expelled, because that is what the constitution of APC says. If you take any matter to the court without exhausting internal mechanism, and the internal mechanism is for you to go to zonal, from zonal you go to national. If you don't exhaust that and if you go to court, we will not hesitate to expel you.
The Rivers State Chapter of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, have endorsed President Bola Tinubu for another term in office. This was affirmed during a stakeholders' engagement at the Obiakwa Council headquarters in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, during the Chairman and Councillors Forum. 22 out of the 23 councils unanimously endorsed the president for 2027. Our correspondent, Charles Oporum, reports.
It's a packed hall at the Obiabo Council headquarters in Port Harcourt, as 22 out of the 23 LGA chairmen and their councillors are present. The chairman and councillors of Governor Fubara's local government, Opobunkoro, are absent at this gathering. They are here to endorse President Bola Tinubu for president come 2027. One by one, the various chairmen and the leaders of their legislative assemblies take to the podium and endorse President Tinubu, citing his various appointments and projects in River State.
As we can see, our president has shown special interest in River State through infrastructure development. For example, the East-West Road is under reconstruction by the federal government. Particular interest is the axis from Eleme to Rune, which is almost near completion. We're indeed very happy because of the special interest that he has shown to our state. And he did not end at that. He has also appointed our sons and daughters from River State into various positions in the federal government.
The chairman of MOHA reads out the communique endorsing President Tinubu before moving the motion for its adoption. This is supported by two other chairmen and unanimously affirmed via a voice vote.
Mr. President has shown unwavering dedication to the people of River State, appointing sons and daughters of the state to key federal positions like our leader, Chief Barrister Ezewo Wike, Grandson Minister of River State, Commander of the Order of Niger, Life Venture, as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, the first of its kind from the South.
This move is coming barely a week after the State Assembly had, in a similar move, endorsed the president for a second term, before 17 of them defected to the APC from the PDP. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
The Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, is asking the federal government to apologize to the Ogoni people and the Niger Delta region for exposing them to environmental hazards due to oil exploration. He made the call at a book launch in Abuja. Mr. Obi maintains that the people deserve compensation for decades of neglect by successive governments.
And when I listen to the resources, and what he concluded and said, they are going to negotiate. What is Ogoni people going to negotiate? The government should be thanking them for coming up with an idea that will turn around the place. You don't need to negotiate. You don't negotiate what you have. I've said it. It's not just Ogoni, the entire Niger Delta deserves apology for wasting their resources and wasting everybody's time. The entire country is rich. I'm not talking about just natural resources. We have it everywhere. Even those who don't have all it takes. We have empty land, all cultivated. Forget about what is underground.
In part two, after the break, Nigeria's coordinating Minister for Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, and Microsoft founder Bill Gates address world leaders at Global Polio Pledge event in Abu Dhabi. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Niger State Governor Umaru Bago receives 100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School rescued by security agencies. President Bola Tinubu welcomes the return of the 100 students and directs security agencies to ensure the safe rescue and return of the remaining students. Adamawa state government imposes a 24-hour curfew on Lamorde local government area after renewed attacks on Bachama community. And Ukraine's European allies press more for security guarantees as pressure mounts from Washington to Kiev to reach a peace deal with Russia. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says that President Bola Tinubu's commitment to maintaining Nigeria's polio-free status is based on the federal government's collaborative enhancement of Nigeria's primary healthcare system with state and local governments. The minister stated this when he addressed world leaders and philanthropists at the Global Polio Pledge event in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. He explains that Nigeria's efforts in mass immunization has led to over 50 million children being vaccinated against yellow fever, measles, and HPV for young women in just 2 years, adding that the adoption of technological advancements and vaccine deliveries in the country is accelerating Nigeria's ability to safeguard the health of its population.
99.9% reduction from where we were. Tens of billions of dollars invested, hundreds of thousands of dedicated health workers working across multiple countries. We have achieved a feat that has to be completed. I think in these times of uncertainty, when hope is shaken in terms of the state of the world, I would argue that the story of polio eradication gives us an important reason to renew our hope. For us in Nigeria, this is something that we've gone through and we're still at it. I remember when I was a young boy, I had friends who could not go to school. I had young men who could not play soccer because they were afflicted by polio virus. And today, Nigeria had been certified wild polio virus free.
Also addressing the forum, renowned philanthropist Mr. Bill Gates says developing countries are at higher risk of a polio resurgence and require more than what the international community is currently making available to protect the health of the global south.
The name of the game here is that if a country is healthy, then it can educate its kids and have economic growth and become self-sufficient. So many recipients like India, Indonesia, Vietnam, took Gavi money and other primary healthcare work and now are completely self-sufficient. And although we have a long ways to go to get every country to that point, our aspiration over the next 20 years is that we get every country to have healthy kids, kids who thrive, and that they're completely self-sufficient.
To security matters now, officers of the Nigerian army have been accused of killing 7 women in Lamorde local government area of Adamawa state. According to the district head of Ganyawa, Mr. Agoso Bameye, the women were protesting the latest attack in the area and blocked the major highway, disrupting vehicular movement. The community leader adds that the security operatives arrived at the scene and attempted to clear the road by firing gunshots. Meanwhile, the state government had earlier imposed a 24-hour curfew in that area following the renewed attack.
The peace in communities in Lamo, the local government area, was disrupted on Sunday following attacks on residents. According to the residents, the violence erupted when heavily armed attackers invaded Waduku, Rigangi, Tingo, and nearby settlements, displacing residents of the area. The number of deaths are yet to be ascertained. The attacks are coming less than a week after Governor Marfinti reconvened a security meeting with the warring communities with a view to brokering peace. The state government subsequently imposed a 24-hour curfew in the area. Security operatives were deployed to the area to maintain law and order. However, they met a resistance from protesting women who are demanding a long-term solution to the attacks. According to the residents, the women blocked the highway, refusing to grant the military access to the community.
Soldiers came in a bit late, and so the women in the community, the women of Lamute, came out to protest the fact that the soldiers were always coming late and it also appeared to them from their analysis that the soldiers took some.
Both the injured and the remains of those dead were taken to the Newman General Hospital. Those injured are already receiving medical attention. The residents narrate what transpired.
It's just a pity that if it is a rule of engagement, you will have seen these people with arms and you did not see them with arms. Why opening fire? So these are the issues. So they kill about 4 instantly, and there are a lot of people that are over 20 that are injured presently.
We are demonstrating that they will not enter, they will not enter. Then the way people that will come from the Gengi, then they start shooting women. All the women that they are shooting down. Then the cry starts everywhere about. People are crying, the women are crying, children are crying, because there are so many. There is children among us. Women, men are aside, they do not come close to women. When they see that women are falling, then the soldier will run away.
The Adamawa State Command confirmed the deaths. However, the spokesperson of the command, Mr. Suleiman Yahya Nguji, who spoke to our correspondent on phone, did not confirm those behind the shooting, explaining that the investigation is ongoing to establish who is responsible for the attacks.
Very sad indeed. And we head over to the nation's capital, Abuja, where Millicent Walker is standing by to bring us more stories on the News at 10. Over to you, Millicent.
Many thanks, Anne. We begin here with education, where the federal government has launched a 50 million naira student venture capital grant aimed at promoting innovation, research excellence and entrepreneurship across tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Speaking at the official launch in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, says the program represents a strategic national investment in young innovators and aligns directly with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for education. The minister explains that the Student Venture Capital Grant is more than a grant scheme, as it is designed to identify high potential and innovative ideas from campuses to nurture a culture of creativity and enterprise among students.
The hall is filled with students and heads of institutions as the federal government launches the Student Venture Capital Grant, aimed at empowering students' innovation across the country. The essence of the launch and an overview of the grant is presented.
Gathered today not merely to witness the ceremonial launch, but to ignite a transformative shift in the landscape of Nigerian education and enterprise.
Partners at the event pledged their support for the success of the grant.
Google is supporting the ministry to power custom evaluation agents within the SVCG application portal. These agents will be built on our Gemini AI and will intelligently analyze student submissions and, crucially, provide personalized feedback to applicants.
For us, we're super excited because most of these young people have been leaving Nigeria for a long time. Just this year, a few of our students went to the University of North Carolina. They were given $100,000 each to do research and to have to school in North Carolina for a year. We want them to stay here.
Value partnership, and it connects to our 6th thematic area. The 6th thematic area of the Bank of Industry currently, we are focused on MSMEs. We are focused on youth and skills because of the demography of Nigeria. We are focused on gender, again, connects to demography, technology, climate, and of course, digital economy. And so because of this,
the grant aims to ignite innovation and kickstart a vibrant entrepreneurial culture among students.
Through this program, students will have access to up to 50 million in equity-free grant to fund and scale up promising ventures with potential to attract attention not only from Nigeria, venture capital, and private equity firms, but from global investors.
After the speeches, the portal for the Student Venture Capital Grant is digitally unveiled. The new initiative is jointly implemented by the Federal Ministry of Education and TET Fund in collaboration with the Bank of Industry, Afara Initiative, AfriLabs, the Entrepreneurship and Skills Development Center, and Google.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank clears 82 bureau de change to operate, signaling crackdown on unlicensed operators. That's coming on Business News. Please join us again. You're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja studios. We head over to Zamfara State, where Governor Dauda Lawal has presented a total of 861.3 billion naira as the 2026 appropriation bill to the State House of Assembly. According to the governor, the budget is more than figures. It's a roadmap for transformation and a contract with the people.
The arrival of Governor Dauda Lawal at the Zamfara State House of Assembly signaled the commencement of the day's legislative proceedings. This year's proposal, known as the Budget of Stability and Growth, outlines the administration's next chapter in consolidating good governance. A breakdown of the 861.3 billion naira budget shows that capital expenditure stands at 714 billion naira, representing 83%, while recurrent expenditure is pegged at 147.2 billion naira, accounting for 17% of the total estimate. Governor Lawal said the 2026 fiscal year is designed to mark a decisive step towards restoring peace, deepening stability, and unlocking Zamfara State's long-term development potential.
In the 2026 budget proposal, we continue to prioritize resources for community-level security, supporting our local vigilante structure in coordination with the federal security agencies, as well as deploying modern technology for surveillance, early warning system, as well as intelligence gathering.
The governor also highlighted the performance of previous budgets, noting renewed public confidence, visible progress, improved security and rehabilitation of critical infrastructure, including hospitals and schools across the state.
We have revived confidence in governance, restored the belief that public resources can be and must be used for the public good.
The governor proceeds to lay the budget proposal before the lawmakers. Responding, the Speaker of the Zamfara State House of Assembly commended the governor for what he described as notable developmental strides recorded across all sectors in the last 2 years. He assured that the legislature will subject the bill to thorough scrutiny while ensuring its speedy passage.
As we begin to scrutinize this budget and invite MDS to defend their proposal, our guiding principle will include stock-taking and human need assessment through engagement with our constituents and the relevant authorities. This is to ensure that we deliver a budget that is both citizen-centered and realistic.
After the presentation, the House passed the 2026 appropriation bill for first and second reading and referred it to the Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's now back to Anne for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Millicent. Let's head to Kogi State, where Governor Usman Ododo has presented a proposed budget of 820.49 billion naira for the state's fiscal year to the State House of Assembly for approval. According to the governor, the budget proposal signifies his commitment to enhancing revenue mobilization and enforcing effective expenditure as part of his administration's broader strategy for economic growth and development.
Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State, accompanied by his aides, arrived at the State House of Assembly for the presentation of the 2026 budget, tagged Budget of Shared Prosperity, Driving Sustainable Growth for All.
Commissioner for Finance.
This is the second budget presentation since assuming office in 2024 as the 5th civilian governor of the state. In his address, the governor reflects on the performance of the 2025 budget.
The total 2026 draft budget package is 820 billion 490 million 585,443 naira only.
On the 2026 budget, the governor explained the rationale for the increase from 604.52 billion naira in 2025 to 820.49 billion naira in 2026, stating his commitment to achieving socio-economic stability and resilience in the face of growing financial challenges.
90 billion naira, exchange gain, 10 billion naira, excess non-oil revenue.
He highlighted the strategic objective of the budget and emphasized the importance of enhanced revenue mobilization and expenditure discipline.
The 2025 revised budget, titled Budget of Inclusive Development, amounted to 604 billion 528 million 992,718 naira only.
He outlined several key goals of the budget, including the aggressive repayment of debts owed to the federal government and the strengthening of an investment-friendly climate, among others. The breakdown of the budget reveals that capital expenditure is getting 453.04 billion naira, while 367.45 billion naira will be spent on recurrent expenditure. The state government is hoping to create over 250,000 jobs through capital projects, expand agricultural initiatives, and improve interventions for small and medium-scale enterprises.
We continue with the world of business. Will Ibong is standing by to bring us more stories. Thank you, Anne. And the Central Bank of Nigeria has confirmed that 82 bureaux de change have received final operating licenses under its revised 2024 regulatory guidelines. The approval, which took effect from 27th of November this year, follows the bank's powers under the Buffer Act 2020. The CBN says only BDCs listed on the Apex Bank website are authorized to operate. Operating a BDC without a license is an offense under Section 57 of Buffer, and the CBN advises consumers and businesses to take note. Now, indigenous agribusiness giant John Vance ends the year on a strong note as the Ondo State government reaffirmed the support at the company's 2025 end-of-the-year celebration in Akure, attended by industry leaders, global partners, and government officials. The company now operates across 3 continents with 9 subsidiaries and multiple factories in Akure, Ile-Oluji, Idanre, and Owo, covering cocoa, cashew, sesame, legumes, edible oils, animal feed, and FMCG. With over 1,000 hectares of farmland and a supply chain reaching 12 countries and more than 30 destinations, John Vance has grown into a global industrial player. Delivering the keynote address, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa praised the group's job creation and community impact, while Group Executive Director Tyrone Chawla thanked the government for its support. John Vance says it will continue to expand capacity and drive Nigeria's economic growth.
I remember when we commissioned the first factory, I think in Akure, some years back. And from what we are seeing tonight, especially from the documentary, I cannot but say, wow, well done. Let me reaffirm our commitment to sustaining this momentum. I'd like to congratulate the Jovent Group for yet another year of remarkable achievements and for continuing to be a shining advertisement of Ondo State, the Ondo State industrial renaissance. Together, we can deepen the work already begun, build industries that outlive us, shape a future where opportunities are abound, and growth is inclusive.
So let's make sure that we make the best out of the opportunity given to all of us. Together, we will innovate. Together, we have a long way to go. Together, we can do a lot of things. But if we remain in discipline, I think we have a lot to achieve. It is just getting started.
Now we're checking on the domestic equities market. We kicked off the second trading week in December in positive territory as investors take a shine to MTN Nigeria. John Mekwa brings the highlight of today's trading session.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, today we see that Santa Claus is still at the NGX and he came with a lot of gifts. Gifts that have motivated investors to bring in 247 billion naira into the market, and that has brought the market cap to 93.969 trillion naira, really close to 94 trillion naira. The all share closed in the green, 0.26% at 147,427.92. Let's look at the sectors and we see what's exciting investors at this time. Banking is one of those, almost 1% up. First Holdco, UBA, GTCO, and Zenith Bank. Consumer goods is also exciting them, but not so much. But Dangote Sugar, International Breweries, and PZ led that. Well, undecided is where we have oil and gas at this time. However, the most exciting for investors today was the market mover MTN Nigeria. MTN opened at 470 naira 60 kobo and closed at 472 naira 50 kobo at the close of trade. Almost 2 naira added to the price of the shares, and also 40 stocks gained while only 15 lost. And it's all because of the presence of Santa Claus and the victory of the bull.
And that's business news. I am Will Ibong. It's back to Anne for more on the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. And still to come on the news at 10, Ukraine's European allies are pushing for stronger security guarantees as the pressure grows from Washington to Kiev to move towards a peace agreement with Russia. And that's on the foreign scene. Please join us again. Welcome back. Let's join Simon Pisa with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has held talks in Downing Street with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The leaders discussed the latest Ukraine peace plan drafted during talks between Ukrainian and US officials in Florida last week. In brief comments before the talks, Mr. Starmer said we stand with Ukraine, while Zelensky said we need to make some important decisions. Donald Trump has claimed Zelensky's negotiators love the latest plan.
I think that is very important now to organize such to meet and discuss very sensitive issues regarding to peace talks, what we had in the United States and between us, and our team came back, and I think that they will brief us after talks with the American team and after talks of Americans with Russians. I think there are a lot of what we have to discuss, to speak about certain things which are very important for today. I think unity between Europe and Ukraine.
Residents on both sides of Thailand's and Cambodia's border have evacuated in droves as fresh clashes erupted, killing at least 5 people. Both sides have each accused the other of starting the violence, which is the most serious confrontation between the two countries since they agreed to a ceasefire in July. Thailand's Prime Minister says his country never wanted violence, but will use necessary means to preserve its sovereignty, while Cambodia's former leader, Hun Sen, accused Thai invaders of provoking retaliation. Since May, escalating tensions between the neighbours have led to more than 40 deaths, as well as import bans and travel restrictions. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said a second phase of the US-brokered plan to end the war in Gaza is close, but that key issues still need to be resolved. Under the second phase of President Donald Trump's plan, Israel should withdraw its troops further from Gaza as a transitional authority is set up and an international security force is deployed. Hamas is meant to disarm and reconstruction to begin. With questions outstanding over Hamas disarmament, one senior official has suggested the group is ready to consider freezing or storing its remaining weapons. The US and other mediators have been applying pressure on both sides to advance to the next stage of Mr. Trump's plan. Syrians are holding events and celebrations to mark the first anniversary since Bashar al-Assad was toppled from power after a lightning rebel offensive. A military parade has taken place around the main square in Damascus, and Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, has given a speech in the capital. Assad fled to Russia following the uprising, marking an end to his family's decades-long hold on the country. 2 senior military officials taken hostage during Sunday's attempted coup in Benin have been freed. It remains unclear how they were released or if other hostages are still being held. Security forces are continuing a manhunt for those involved in the plot who remain at large. A group of soldiers appeared on state television early in the morning to announce they had taken over in the West African country, and gunfire was heard near the presidential palace. However, President Patrice Talon later announced that the situation was totally under control. A former nurse has been found guilty of the high-profile murder of Toya Cordingley, whose body was found on a popular tropical beach in Australia 7 years ago. Toya Cordingley was stabbed at least 26 times while out on a Sunday afternoon walk with her dog in October 2018. The 24-year-old's body was discovered by her father, half buried in sand dunes on Wengeti Beach between the popular tourist hotspots of Cairns and Port Douglas. And 2 armed men have stolen 8 engravings by the French artist Matisse and at least another 5 by the Brazilian painter Candido Portinari from a library in Sao Paulo. Brazilian officials say the thieves held up a security guard and an elderly couple who were visiting the library before making up with the artworks on foot. They reportedly entered the library by the main entrance at 10 a.m. on Sunday and left by the same route, heading towards the nearest metro station. The heist comes less than 2 months after the art world was rocked by the brazen break-in at the Louvre Museum in Paris, where thieves made off with priceless jewels.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. With 13 days to the 2025 African Cup of Nations, CAF and the local organizing committee have unveiled the official mascot for the competition, a sad, inspired by the Atlas Lion, one of Morocco's most iconic national symbols and a unifying and powerful figure across the African continent. His name, meaning lion in Arabic, embodies strength, pride and cultural authenticity, but resonate deeply with fans both in Morocco and throughout Africa. And Mohamed Salah has been dropped from Liverpool's squad for their Champions League tie at Inter Milan after the Egypt star's extraordinary criticism of his treatment by boss Arne Slot. Salah was not included in the squad announced by Liverpool today, despite being seen smiling when he trained with the first team earlier in the day. And Hansi Flick says it is really important for Barcelona to play their first Champions League match at their partially rebuilt Camp Nou just over 2 months after re-inaugurating the stadium. Barcelona, who host Frankfurt on Tuesday night, have been substandard in Europe, and Flick knows the last phase of the league round format does not allow for much margin. That Sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Niger State Governor Umaru Bago today received 100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri, rescued by security agencies. President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the return of 100 students and directed security agencies to ensure the safe rescue and return of the remaining students and teachers. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night, and please stay safe.